Guitar or bass pickups are the heart of your instrument's tone. They turn your string vibrations into the electric signals that power your sound. Whether it's the bite of a single coil, the warmth of a humbucker, or the clarity of a piezo, every pickup has special skills for making great music sound even better. This week, we're diving into the wide world of pickups, electromagnetic, piezo, and microphone. Let's get nerdy! I'm Andy Schneider, career musician turned guitar coach, producer, and author of over 100 books from my publishing company, Singing Music Books. I was a high school band nerd, then a devoted jazz guy, then a backing musician for great artists in every type of music. From Austin to Nashville to New York City, I've learned from my musical experiences and the great musicians that were there with me. I'm a self-taught guitarist, but I was lucky enough to get the right bits of education early on in my career. Pairing that with the many conversations I've shared with more experienced musicians put me on the path to success, a path that built my skills to become the experienced, confident musician audiences enjoy today. I created the Guitar Nerd podcast to give you simple steps to building and growing your musical knowledge, having greater abilities, and getting that amazing music that's inside of you out and into the world where we can all enjoy it. Whether you're a beginner or experienced guitar or bass player, if you want to make fantastic music, you're in the right place, my friend. Now let's get nerdy. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Guitar Nerd. My name is Andy Schneider. This is the place where we talk all things nerdy. Nerdy about guitars, nerdy about bass guitars. I love it. I play both, and I'm a big old guitar nerd myself. Whether you're new to playing or you have lots of experience, I hope you'll find something here to energize your music this week. Now, last week's episode was music theory, what it is, how to use it to your advantage. This week, we're going to be talking about a different aspect of guitar knowledge, gear. We're going to be talking about guitar pickups. There's a lot to be known about guitar pickups because they come in so many flavors. They come in so many varieties and variations on those varieties. It's a subject worth knowing. It's a subject worth knowing because they, right off the bat, shape your sound. You may be looking for a special function for your guitar, to play solos, to play leads or rhythm. Well, which pickup should you use? I'm going to try to shed some light on that subject for you this week. We're turning the spotlight on the most essential components of your sound, your pickups. Pickups are what make your electric guitars and basses, well, electric. They convert string vibrations into an electric signal that you can amplify and shape and turn into music. But there are so many types, and how do they work anyway? How do you select the ones that are right for you? Well, pickups are the voice of your guitar. They transform your playing into a tone that's uniquely yours. Selecting the right ones will make your guitar playing life much easier, as most of the tone shaping will already be done. Now, there are three basic types of pickups: electromagnetic, piezo, or pressure pickups, and microphones, just regular old microphones. Electric guitars use mainly electromagnetic pickups, although some will also throw in a piezo now and then. Acoustic guitars are mainly piezo, but then throw in an extra electromagnetic or even a microphone. Lots of variety within the various families. Let's have a look at these three. First up, electromagnetic. They're the ones you probably were expecting me to talk about. They're the ones that you see in the body of a solid body guitar. How do they work? They are one part magnet and one part a coil of wire. Just like the name implies, electro magnetic. They use permanent magnets and a coil of wire wrapped around the magnet to create an electromagnetic field. Your strings, you'll notice, are made of metal, and those disturb that electromagnetic field, which induces a current in the coil. That current becomes the output of your guitar, travels down the cable, and off to your effects and amp. Now, the first pickups were single coils, a single wrap of wire, many, many turns around one magnet. The sound was bright, it was articulate, punchy, and it was just a perfect complement for the small tube amps of the day. Later were invented humbuckers. They were warm, powerful, and very importantly, noise canceling, as you might have guessed from the name, humbucker. That's exactly what they did. Those single coils sounded great, but unfortunately, they also picked up a lot of hum from everything. The refrigerator, the house lights, everything seemed to be generating electrical noise that the single coil electromagnetic pickup unfortunately amplified. Humbuckers solved that problem and gave a different opinion about what tone could be. Something that was more in the center, had a lot of power and warmth. If you wonder what's on your guitar, take a look at, say, the Fender Stratocaster or Telecaster. Those are classic examples of single coils. And the people that played them were Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and importantly, Buck Owens. Lots and lots of country guitar picking was done on a Fender Telecaster or even a Stratocaster because of those single coils. They had a lot of pluck and created that classic country sound that we all know. The humbucker used almost exclusively in today's metal, hard rock. The Gibson Les Paul was made famous because of its use of a humbucker. And if you think about Slash's sound in Guns N' Roses, there you go. That's humbuckers. They sound great through a big dirty amp, lots of power, and they put the sound right there where it works great whether you're chunking out rhythm chords or playing a lead. You'll know single coils because they're about as thick as your finger. And there's one row of magnets or adjusting screws that you'll see on the top. Humbuckers kind of look like if you put two fingers together, or two French fries together. There's two rows generally of adjusting screws, one under each string. And so that's how you'll know a humbucker. They're thicker. They're about the thickness of two of your fingers. If you stick them out into a peace sign kind of thing, that's about the size of a humbucker. There is a compromise between those two. While single coils tend to be about one finger thick, humbuckers two, there is a pickup called the PAF, which is a large single coil. It's not the size of one finger. It's more the size of two. In fact, they're about the same size. You can often drop them in as a replacement in humbucker guitars because they're the same size. But you'll know them on sight because they don't have two rows of magnets or two rows of adjusting screws. They've just got one, and it's directly in the center. It's not shifted off of one side a little bit this way or that way. Right down the center, and it combines some of the nice capabilities of the single and the humbucker. It's a bigger sound than a single coil, but it has a lot of bite and fatness like you might expect from a humbucker. So it's just something else to be looking for in the music that you enjoy and the players that you've been following. Incidentally, PAF stands for Patent Applied For. Patent Applied For, which I think was a government thing that if you applied for a patent, you could pretty safely set it out for sale as long as you stamped that patent applied for on it. And that was stamped on the first ones made back in the 50s. And even though it was invented so long ago, it keeps the name today. Another type of pickup is the piezo. P-I-E-Z-O, piezo. They're very common in acoustic guitars because they're sure effective. They're really effective, and they sound great. They use pressure-sensitive crystals, believe it or not. Yes, crystals are in there to convert the vibrations directly from the instrument's body or strings into electrical signals. Piezo pickup typically lives under the saddle of the bridge. The saddle is the long, skinny piece of plastic or bone that's embedded there in the bridge. It's what the strings actually rest on, and sometimes is adjustable to give you exactly the right height to your strings off of the fretboard. So under the saddle is the piezo pickup. If you took your fingers very gently and drummed it on that piece of plastic or bone, if you drum them on the saddle, if you're using piezo pickups, you'll really hear it. It'll sound like drum beats. Boom, 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 boom. Piezo pickups have incredible clarity and details through the entire sonic range of the acoustic tone. There are some solid body electrics that also combine a bridge piezo with the electromagnetic pickups, allowing a lot of versatility and sonic creative possibilities. The third type of pickup are actual microphones. This tends to be acoustics only, and they're little microphones that generally live inside of the guitar. It's essentially a microphone that you carry around inside your guitar or bass. The downside of an actual microphone in that space is that they are more prone to feedback in live settings. However, they also provide a depth and a realism by catching the string vibrations and the resonance of your instrument's body. There you go. 3 types of pickups, 3 types of sonic choices. What will you prefer? The acoustic accuracy of piezos, the clarity and bite of single coils, or the power and warmth of humbuckers? Let me know by leaving a comment in the show notes at guitarnerd.net. That's GTRNRD.net, guitarnerd.net. It's a home for all things nerdy for us guitar and bass players. If you're enjoying this episode and want to take your knowledge even further, head over to the Guitar Nerd companion website. It's called seeingmusicbooks.com, seeingmusicbooks.com. Download my free guide, Achieve Your Dreams. It's an assessment tool and a handy way to see what knowledge you've already got, what knowledge you have, and what areas you might want to develop or improve. It then makes some suggestions and gives you some ideas where to walk this forward. Get the Achieve Your Dreams guide for free at seeingmusicbooks.com. Well, it's that point in the show. It's time to nerd out. We just talked about the basics of the 3 families of guitar pickups, right? We've got electromagnetic, we've got piezo, we've got microphones, actual microphones. Let's talk right now about getting creative with electromagnetic pickups. These are the most common for electric guitar players or for bass players. And there are some creative tricks that they've probably given you inside of your guitar, or you will find a guitar someday that has them, and now you're going to know what to do with these tricks. What tricks am I talking about? Okay, there's some ways of wiring up those pickups in creative ways that really change the sound and open the door to a whole bunch of possibilities. I'm thinking of this because a friend of mine just bought a new guitar, really nice guitar, great pickups, and he discovered, after buying it, it's got a bunch of little pull pots and wiring possibilities. So he's got more controls, more options than he's ever had before. Where do you start understanding how to use those, how to think about them? I'm going to tell you. The first thing that he noticed, he pulled on this pot. Sometimes switches look like switches. Sometimes they're hidden. You pull on a guitar knob, and some of them have a switch under there. So he pulls on the volume knob, and it makes a little sound, and now it's in coil splitting mode. Coil splitting. It's a concept that applies to humbuckers only, because humbuckers are really 2 single coils wired together into one package. They look like it, don't they? If you take the cover off of a humbucker, they look like two single coils like you would find in a Telecaster. Well, they are two single coils, and you can see the rows of adjusting screws if you've got the cap off the top. Coil splitting eliminates one of those coils. Normally, you're listening to both of them working. Coil splitting eliminates one of those coils and just outputs the other one. It's a wiring trick that momentarily converts your humbucker into a single coil for extra versatility, extra tone options. It's pretty cool. It's like something for nothing. You might like the single coil better for, say, strumming rhythms, and the humbucker for sustained leads. Imagine you've got a song to play. You might play most of it on the single coil setting, and pop your guitar into humbucking mode to play that hot, sustained solo, and then pop it back into single coil mode to finish out the song. Everybody will wonder, how'd you get so much sound? How'd you get that variety out of one guitar? It's a way of just opening a lot of possibilities without having to replace the pickups in your guitar. There's another wiring trick, which is series wiring versus parallel wiring. This one provides a lot of confusion because the differences between the two are very subtle. I grant you, they are very subtle, but they do provide very different tonal characteristics. Series or parallel describes the electrical connection, whether one pickup is fed into the other pickup, that's series, right? The sound is traveling from one into the other and then out to the output. That would be a series connection. Parallel works when both pickups are making sound and then they're joined at their output side with an electrical union that goes to the output. Series flow or a parallel flow. And the differences in sound between these two wiring configurations, very subtle. Generally, there will be one switch on your guitar if you have series or parallel wiring options available. Give it a try sometime. Find a guitar that does have series or parallel and see what you think. Series might feel a little more powerful and gutsy. On my old Gibson bass, definitely gives a lot more low end, a big roundness actually. The parallel wiring, I find more articulate. On my particular guitar, it's a more balanced sound. I enjoy it for 90% of my work. So series, a little bit more powerful, gutsy, feels like there's just more amperage in your sound. Parallel, a little bit more articulate and perhaps balanced. There's one other aspect of electrical engineering that goes into our guitars, and this is something that you may have heard of and wondered, it sounds like they're saying it's good. Is it good? Do I need active pickups? Active versus passive pickups. Every pickup, every electromagnetic pickup is one or the other, active or passive. What does that mean? Active means that a battery and an electronic circuit have been added to the guitar to help power the sound as it leaves through the output jack. Passive means there is no battery. The pickup alone is what's creating the signal. The advantage to the active is that 100% of your tone reaches its destination, your pedals and your amp. That's why add the battery and the little circuit. They're helping push that sound down long cables, which can degrade your tone. Active pickups give your signal a little extra power to overcome that loss. Passive pickups have a more vintage sound, and the big advantage is there's no battery to go dead. They're just ready to make a sound at a moment's notice. Active or passive? Which one will you choose? Okay, we've talked about the three basic types of guitar and bass pickups: electromagnetic, piezo, and microphones. Each has a signature tone shaping ability and clear advantages. The different families of pickups and the varieties of each can shape your sound in wide and creative ways. Selecting a guitar with the right pickups makes getting the right tone so much easier. Thank you to everyone who's been subscribing to this podcast and following on social. Next week on Guitar Nerd, we're going to talk about supercharging your strumming. Yeah, everybody needs to do it. Strumming is fundamental to every guitar player, acoustic, electric. We do it all the time. Let's figure out how to do it even better. There's some technique involved and some things to listen for. Once they're pointed out to you, I'll bet that you feel like your strumming is supercharged too. Remember, you've got great music inside of you. Let's get it out and into the world for everyone to hear. You can do this, guitar player. Experiment with your pickups this week. See how they change your sound. Take another look at your favorite guitar. See what types of pickups they're using. Then listen for those characteristics in their recordings. You'll be using that knowledge to your own advantage very soon. Until next time, have a great nerdy week. I'm Andy Schneider, and you've been listening to Guitar Nerd.